Hello, this is Priscilla Batzell in Spring Hill, Florida at Expressionist Fluid Art Studio Gallery with an OXO omelet turning flip and fold spatula, a 12 by 16 inch canvas, and a whole lot of yellows because I want a yellow background. And after I start, I'm going to add the colors to the video and in the description under the video, but I'm going to fast forward through everything. So as I go, you'll see the colors if you watch. So my painting is dry now, and I want to put a horizon line in, and I'm not sure what to use, but I'm going to start right across the center with some periwinkle. Figure that that's my misty, the mist above the forest line. And that is a vivid, intense, I believe. This is Prizm Pour. It's called Wintergreen. I'm probably going to mess with these things with a little stick or something. This is a new Purely pigment. This is Chartreuse. Just think of it as pale green. And I think I'm going to grab a little tiny piece of tongue depressor. Just mess with things. I might, and I am actually contemplating using a straw to blow the paint around. I want a dark blue shadow under this supposed forest, and I also want to grab a skewer with a little paintball. Actually, I'll just deal with it without. That sort of looks like trees, and it could be a purple mountain in the background too. Let's try the sharp end and see how it goes. Be nice if I could figure this out, because I want to put some grass in the foreground. I kind of want some more dark green, but what I pulled out was some Perfectly Peacock, or Perfect Peacock. I keep calling it Perfectly, but no, it's not it. Now my choice is between my Black Iris, my Paynes Gray, or my Midnight Shadow. I know the Paynes Gray will leak fluid if I'm not careful, but I could probably mix them. Let me try my skewer. Didn't want a lot. It's not like watercolor. And I'm actually looking over here to my right where you can't see yet, and thinking about using the tools I decided I was going to use to create a grassy effect in the foreground and maybe use them in my forest. And see what happens. And that would be this little tool I found out they do sell at Michael's. That's a lot too uniform. That doesn't mean I can't mess around with it. It does make good tree trunks. Well, sort of. We'll see if I'm right. Just going to keep overlapping my marks, which for all intents and purposes should mix the paint somewhat. That's a really stylized forest. What else have I got? I've got all kinds of things ready on the go. I've got a cut up. It's still too even. It's a trimmed off silicone basting brush with all the rows except for one removed. Now I'm going to grab that straw if I can. I keep reorganizing my studio to make it better and better, and what it does is hide my tools on myself. I'm going to say the heck with it and pull out the Midnight Shadow. Which, because it's a little plugged, is perfect. But it's making me want some dark purple. Maybe I'll settle for a little bit of Wild Orchid, because I'm sure that will mix somewhat with the Midnight Shadow. What else have I got? I'm going to use a spatula. Yay! I'm going to use one of my silicone hair tool spatulas, because it's wider. Whoops. Didn't see that. I do want it to be less than, I don't want it to be too uniform. I could definitely take a little bit of the leftovers that is on my tool and put them up in the back, but I'm nervous that that would be something that I could not undo. So I'll have to save that for another time, another painting. Alright, I'm going to have to try and blow into this. I can't have picked one with paint on it right out of the gate. Sorry about my head. I'm just blowing. Alright, now it looks more organic. I'm not sure it looks better yet. I'm going to pull my paint around the sides. If you took your time, I'm sure you could do a much better job than I'm willing to do in the time I've allowed myself. Still, I don't think it's going to be too bad. It's definitely going to give the impression I'm looking for. Just pulling down, pulling up. Still not beyond the realm of possibility that I'm going to put that skewer back in the bottom again. I'm awful nervous I'm blocking all of your view. If you ever notice gaps in my recording, it's because I've edited my head out. Seem like I have some gaps over here. It looks like there's enough paint to try and tip it, but I don't know that that's the truth. Let's try it anyway. I could tip it up. Just dropped my skewer on the floor. Can't really see that. I'm sure it's stretching a little bit. It's way too uniform. I'm just going to pull some of that color right up from the bottom. Figure if there's tree trunks in there. My residuals right over the edge, which I theorize I can always go back and fix later. Trying to get rid of that uniform look. Oops. Maybe that's a better idea. Maybe pulling the trees up above the purple would be an ideal solution. I'll just do that. Because it's textural and I like it better. That looks more like trees in a forest to me than it did. So now I'm going to try something else. Take away a few tools, throw some white down in my dish. When the timer goes off in 2 minutes, I'll probably start again. This is Vivid Intense White. I believe it's got Floetrol and GAC 800 with it. I'm going to grab a spatula. And for the start, I'm going to see what I feel like. I'm going to see how dark the white is. And it's not really dark, and that's good. That means I can do what I want. I could even put it right on the canvas to lighten a few things up, which is definitely going to make me happy. So into the white, I'm going to throw some, I'm going to throw some Frosted Berry. That should have shaken up again, because obviously from a long time ago I added some water. And I've got some Vivid Intense Magenta. That orange streak in the sky was just a lot too bright for me. And I did think that I pulled out some shiny taffeta, but evidently I didn't. What I pulled out was pixie dust, but I didn't use it. Give myself one more minute. I have some much stronger white. I believe this might be a mix that I mixed some clear with at one point in time, but I'm finding it useful to mute the intensity of the yellow. So I'm going to go and keep working with my paint until that timer goes off again, and then I'll go and come back, and you won't even notice if I do it right. I'm going to have to do, if I want this to be if I want this to be a reflection in water down here from the sky, I'm going to have to do the same thing in there. So I'm going to wait and see how that makes me feel. And I'll see you in a second. Okay, that was probably fairly quick. I think I want to take some of this, just put it right in there. I'm going to take what little I have left of this put a little more frosted berry and a little more of that, what was it? Magenta Vivid Intense. Vivid Intense Magenta. Not a lot. It'd be a waste. I like those trees better than I thought I was going to. I was a little worried for a little while that they were going to suck. I don't want to be too exacting because that's not even possible. But I think if I want to do this right, I might have to make an attempt to spin the turntable around some. That should probably get mopped up with a Q-tip and given an opportunity to start again. That's better. A little more white. Pretty sure that most of that orange stripe will disappear. If it won't, I'll help it disappear now. Let's hope that's fake enough. A good enough fake. I said that backwards. I see something in here that's greenish. It doesn't matter. It's going to look like reflections if it's going to look like reflections, and if it's not, it's not. And I think it is. Trying not to be exact, but I would like to get close. Okay, so I want to use my dish. I actually want to use all of my paint. Just put it right in there. And try not to worry about it, whether it looks perfect or not. And at the same time, I'll get rid of that intensely yellow stripe. Alright, it's ready. It's time. I'm going to wipe off my spatula. Actually, I'm going to throw it in the bucket and get a clean one. And I'm going to try and use some Indian Yellow, Vivid Intense, which is very intense. no idea what I'm doing now, but I'm going to keep trying until I get something out of it that I don't like, don't hate. That's the shiny taffeta. I have a little bit of green tea, which is a primary element. I just wanted to test it out. I was going to use more greens. I'm rethinking my greens. I've got frog prints, which is a primary element. It's not a bad mix. That's not good. I sell that. I got green in my sky. I've got a Q-tip. Thinking a little more Chartreuse. Purely Pigment. See if I can keep from dripping in the sky. And this is the Sour Apple. For some reason I am called to putting a little bit of periwinkle in there. Let's assume there's flowers in the field. It's not working too badly except for that thing that's dragging along that I'd like to get out. There we go. It doesn't look too awful bad. I'm kind of pleased that it's not horrible. It's the first time I've tried to do this, like grass this way. I will be dragging some tools through it and hoping that I can make it look a little more organic. Which, now that I've said it, makes me think I should not be putting every line in straight. Glad I put that purple in there. I might want to save a little for the bottom. And I've been waiting for this, assuming I haven't lost my fork, my threek. My intention is to let the yellow show through in the background. Kind of wish I had some more dark. So I think what I'm going to do is grab that green tea, was it? Yes, it was. And a little bit of the wild orchid too. And try and develop a style so there's no hard line. Along the top edge, which I would assume is, as far as I'm concerned, supposed to be the edge of a pond with a reflection in it. I did a digital sketch ahead of time, but it didn't register well with the person I asked about it, so I decided to just wing it. That green tea with the wild orchid is making me happy. So is my 3. I'm trying to figure out what I could suggest you use as a tool if you can't find one of these. This is a Revolutionary War fork, assumably. My friend has one, so they're not completely uncommon. But I think you could take your time and you could either build something with a skewer, or you could just demand patience from yourself. And now I want to take my paint and go across the bottom. Well, it's not anything fancy, I gotta say. It's not really what I expected the first time, but you get what you get. I can fill in any gaps I have. Now if I had to put a dark stripe across first, I could scrape through and have tree trunks. As it is, I'm being a little willful. The piece of art that inspired this was somebody who does fields and watercolor very nicely. So, it is what it is for now. Surprise! No, maybe not. It's day 3, and after you were gone yesterday, I took some deep amethyst and a little bit of Prussian violet, and I put it down in the grass. I also scraped through until it got tacky. Put a few little wheat heads on, stuff like that. I don't care for this as much as I would like to, and there are some things I want to do to it. Starting with little amethyst queen. And the reflection in the lake. Or whatever body of water it is. So I played with this digitally, and that made me decide that I would like to add some orange to the sky. And rather than add the orange crush, which might or might not be sheer enough, I think I'm going to play with my Pebeo Iridescent. But before I do that, I already like that better. Before I do that, I'm going to add some sunlight coming through the trees. I'm going to take a little Tuscan sun. I might wind up using, this is sour lemon with some holly berry in it. I've got pixie dust too, and I wanted to try some of that right. Pixie dust is a primary element. I just wanted to mellow the yellow out in the water. Which I probably should have done before I added the purple, but oh well, never mind. So my idea is to add dots and dabs of this yellow, because basically it looks like sunlight coming through the trees, and it adds a whole lot more character to the whole piece as far as I'm concerned. Now I could add some lighter green too, which wouldn't be a problem. But I'm thinking both of those colors are pretty good, and they're doing exactly what I needed them to do. And they're both dark enough so that I think they'll stay. I'm not going to try and smooth them out or anything. Just little dabs will be perfect. Hopefully you like this as much as I do. And then we can use my Oxo Omelette Turning Flip and Fold spatula. I just will put a couple things down lower. I just love the way this looks compared to the way it looked before I did it. It already looks so much more organic and natural and dimensional. And interesting, just basically more interesting by far. Smaller marks in the background, larger marks in the foreground. I really didn't need all the yellow I have, but I'm tempted to put a few things down at the bottom or throughout. Part of the reason I did this is because I noticed that when I scraped through where my supposed trunks would be, it left some lighter color, and I liked the way it looked. It seemed more dimensional to me. That's a bubble. Come out of there, bubble. I do kind of wish I'd put a darker mountain in the back. That's enough of that for now. Whatever that green spot is, it can stay. This is brave. Hopefully I was not, if my head was in the way most of the time, I will have removed it. Now I'm using Cell Activator because it's mixed with Floetrol, not because I want it to sell, but because it's lighter in color. It's a thinner mixture. And I might do the same thing by adding some Dancing Fuchsia, but I'm kind of nervous about it because it's really so strong. But I kind of like the weird texture that it's making over the clouds. I'm going to try a little bit more of that right up there, and a little bit more of that. It's a whole weird concept, but it's okay because I like it better than I liked it before. And I'm going to have to go back and fix my edges afterwards. I get a smoother mark with my fingers than I do with the spatula. So guess what's going to happen now? Which is actually good to know because I'll probably want to do the same thing down below. That's me dabbing my finger into that Dancing Fuchsia. Okay, here goes nothing. I may have to wipe some of this out of the grass. But I have a wet paper towel standing by. I think I might have used more than I needed to. I'm definitely going to touch up my edges after you're gone, but not while you're here. Well, that didn't seem to hurt the grass much at all. Kind of like it actually. It blended right in, so that's cool. I'm going to take a little bit more of this Dancing Fuchsia, which is also Cell Activator. I'm going to try not to be too fussy, but I might grab a little more than I have. Looks like I've got drips, which are perfect over my edges. So I'm going to dip my finger in and risk it. Now this is, I have a greenish area in the yellow and I don't like it. So I'm thinking I'm just going to grab my shiny taffeta. And since my fingers have worked so well so far, I'm going to try them again. And I might just go all the way down. Sans that thing that does not belong. Try not to get too close to that purple. Shiny taffeta is a Prizm pour and it's definitely stickier than everything else I just used, so I'm going to have to be careful. It's drying really, really fast. Okay, so I'm supposed to be done with this, but I'm not. And I want some more pink in the water and some more pink in the sky. And I've got a mixing dish, and I've got some Vivid Intense White that's also with some Vivid Intense Clear, which was a mistake on my part, but it's very sheer, not very white, and I'm thinking it's the perfect background. I'm sure there's also some Floetrol and probably some GAC 800 in there. And I'm going to try and add some pink diamond, which just happens to be a little bit plugged. And that is looking like a great color. I'm also going to include a little bit of Plum Blossom, which is a primary element, which I found lying on its side because I'm trying to drain the bottle. And then, rather than put the paint on the canvas and expect me not to have streaks, I'm going to mix it right on the canvas, on the spatula. I may add some more. I'm liking the pink diamond. I might add more at the top. Because I don't mind the orange showing through, but I want the pink. Wow, I'm using way more paint than I anticipated. And I've got a little something in there. But I like the yellow and the orange showing through. So I'm going to try do the same thing upside down. And I'm guessing if I really love it, I'm going to have to go back and re-edit the video. Let some of that go right over the edge. That worked every bit as well as I'd hoped it would. I've got some Whispering Winds, which is a color that's been hanging out for a while. Also in a small bottle, probably with Vivid Enamel, which I don't prefer over the Vivid Intense, the Vivid Polypore. Alright, I think I'm going to risk it and take a little bit of pink and go right down to the horizon line, because that yellow is just so bright. Get rid of my chemtrail marks, spatula marks. I like the little bits of yellow showing through, that's cool. I'm going to do it to the same. it got so close to what I wanted, but almost doesn't really do it. And because I put marks in the water, that's cool. I catch a little bit of paint. That's like perfect. Take my overflow, rub it right in, and whatever's left in my dish will go on the top. Alright, so whatever paint I've got on here, I'm going to grab a little more. Put it right down into the reeds and rushes. Because I think as I scrape across with the spatula, I ought to be able to get the best part of that out of there. I was talking about the Whispering Wind because I want to put some into the trees. And it's so much softer like this. I am going to be brazen right now. Take some of my Prussian Violet. Wipe off my spatula to a degree. Put what's left of the paint in a little puddle. Wipe some across the blade of my spatula. Come on out. Please don't be plugged. Now I'm not really taking as much of a risk as it seems like, because I digitally manipulated my artwork on my photo editor on my camera. Excuse me, on my cell phone camera. And I decided that I would like the bottom of this to be just so much darker than it is now. So it looks a lot more like it's in shadow. I wasn't sure how good of a job I was going to be able to do at it, but I'm willing to try. And I can definitely scrape some things away. I could even probably wipe some of them away across the top. I like the green showing, the little bits of green showing through a lot more than I liked the whole green. It moves the eye for me like way better. I'm going to put a little bit of Amethyst Queen in, which is a slightly different shade of purple. Although nothing seems to want to come out the first time I try this today. I took a little bit of that white and pink. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. It's just going to change up. There. I am actually very pleased with this right now, as opposed to what I was, which was not very pleased. I am going to have to grab a straw though, or something. I want that pink to go over the edge. Oh, I'm so happy with this right now, I can't even tell you. So I'm going to take a little bit of this Whispering Wind. Which is a beautiful blue. I'm going to take my palette knife. just going to add little dabs and pull them down, because it just adds so much more dimension, I think. Definitely think so. I could probably add dabs with a skewer too, or pretty much anything you wanted. I kind of want to try some in the purple, in the reflection or the shadow, whatever you want to call it. I kept thinking I should put spikes on the purple. I like that too. I like it lighter along the waterline or whatever it is. That's what it seems like to me. And darker underneath the trees. That's pretty cool. So I'm almost done. I want to make sure my little dabs are small, because the big ones cover too much ground. I'm just pulling them up with the tip. That adds so much. I just felt so unprofessional before. Not that I, didn't earn it, because I am learning all the time. I probably should have watched somebody who knows what they're doing before trying it myself, but I'm going to take that blue . I threatened to work with a palette knife, so now I'm finally doing it, and I'm loving the blue. Got a little bit more. I threw a little bit of art fluid into the bottle that was mostly empty anyway. I'm probably going to throw a lot of that. I'll probably fix my edges afterwards, down where the grass is. But I'm pretty happy with that. I'm wondering if I can do something else to the yellow at the edge of the waterline. I'm really tempted to put some frosted berry in there. And I did the same thing. I was expecting that to not happen. I don't know why not. Just want to get rid of that hard line. And I'm really tempted to grab a Q-tip. Which I probably should have moistened with my saliva first, just so it didn't leave any little filaments. But there's a piece I'm actually pleased with myself for. Except for that crumb of, those couple crumbs of color. I can always draw lines through the paint to make it seem like water, because the yellow will come up and it'll be beautiful. That's just me dragging my tweezers Okay, I am, for all intents and purposes, one heck of a lot happier than I was, and I'm pleased to tell you I have more than 33 playlists, probably 34, and they have 100 videos on them each. I want to say thank you for all the donations to my PayPal and Patreon contributors, and thank you for keeping my channel alive to all my YouTube members. And if you do, give me thumbs up. Actually, just give me a thumbs up anyway, please. When you share my videos, you help me out. When you watch them all the way through, you tell the YouTube algorithm to help keep my channel alive and promote me, please. My email address is easpb and the word gallery spelled out at gmail.com. You will find a Colourarte coupon code, promo code, underneath the video in the description, along with a Pixel Paint Designs coupon code. And on my link tree, you'll find a couple of websites and Legalerist, Society 6. Underneath the video, you'll find Spring. There's also Pixels.com, Far in America. Anywhere that I have merchandise available, you can have my artwork put on that merchandise. So just ask me if you can't find what you're looking for. I'm happy to help you. My Amazon link is on the link tree. Also, it has my 2 books there, Because Again and Unlimited Possibilities are the first and the second 100 videos I made for YouTube. Please ask questions if you'd like to. I'm here to help. My community board will show you tomorrow's video at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as long as I'm still doing that. Who knows? My paint pouring recipe is underneath Show More, and I'm much more satisfied with this. And I love you guys. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you anon. Bye for now. Priscilla out.